Hey y'all, I don't really have a an intro or anything, so we're just gonna go straight through it. This is your Comcast employees, right? Interpretation of the following patch that we should be seeing. Now, granted, this isn't 100% confirmed or anything, but we will go from here. So first thing, all minions have been moved to neutral. This is a very big change, and I think anybody who's trying to predict this change is gonna be is probably jumping the gun. There's so much content being shifted here while we can speculate and we can say, oh, this is good, oh, this is good. It's like in my opinion, there's just too much. Like, there's literally so many options, there's so many changes now. I think it's stupid to predict how it's going to react, or how the community is going to react. But the big thing I do want to point out is this is a good change, I think. Good change because it's going to open up decks, right? Originally, decks that weren't maybe that good are now going to be very good. Or more importantly, ideas for decks that weren't that good can now actually happen. So if I want to build a Rush Greek deck, I can now build a Rush Greek deck. There's a lot of options. And I think I'm really excited to see this. I think it's going to be great. Uh, this is to the long term players. This is gonna kind of suck, but I think we'll adjust. Uh, that's fine. I guess intro cinematics. Auras now display a line adjacent to all buffs affecting. Okay, I see that. So that's fine. And then this is fine. Isis, Egyptian, legendary. This is stupid. Giving all friendlies resurrect, I think is like I feel like all these old leaders are now just insanely broken. That is ridiculous. That is filthy ridiculous. Give all friendlies afterlife resurrect. Like, it's really good if you're ahead. If you are behind, it's not very good because you're only gonna have like one friendly. But if you have like four friendlies on the field, like imagine if you give Gubis or Geb or like some super tanky target resurrect, they're never gonna be able to kill it unless you silence it. So there's that. So again, I think this is very very strong depending on where you are in the game. Guan Yu, Chinese legendary, whenever you play spell, do 1 damage to all enemies. To Here's the deal. As of right now, Chinese is very strong. So when this patch drops, I don't know how strong it's going to be. But if we assume it's around the same strength, this is filthy ridiculous because it depends on how high of a cost Guan Yu is. That's what I will say. It depends on how high costing Guan Yu. If he's like a 4 or 5 mana, it's going to be stupid. If he's like 6 mana, he's not going to be that bad. Because the deal is your the game should allow you time for the enemy player to attempt to eliminate Guan Yu, and as long as the player has that time, I think his card will be perfectly balanced. Freya Norse legendary, deal 2 damage 4 times. Units are not killed are bit. Ah, okay. Deal 2 damage 4 times, so a total of 8 damage. That's very strong. Units not killed are banished. That is ridiculous because it's gonna banish your entire field. So wow, okay, that is insanely strong. I think they probably need to adjust that. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Like, banishing your entire army. Think about that. Think about that for a minute. You lose every single possible unit. That is crazy. Again, like I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's the thing. I think it's the thing. I don't know. Yeah. Poseidon, Greek, legendary, replace your leader ability with the Kraken. This is really cool. I like this. I think the Kraken is like do 2 damage to a 4x4 square, something like that. I don't know. That is really, I like that a lot. I like that a ton. I think it's definitely I think it's definitely unique because we see a lot of this in Hearthstone, and the leader abilities are emphasized in Hearthstone, but not to this degree. This degree is because in this game you're constantly using your leader ability. I think this is a really awesome trait, and I'm really excited to see how this works. If you guys know me at all, I'm very excited for Nox because I love Nox. Warcry. Nox enters a friendly unit, giving them her attack and health as a buff. When target dies, Nox pops out. So the first thing we're going to be seeing is Nox is going to be a low cost, right? There's no way they're going to give, like, if she's, also say she's a 5/5, there's no way they're going to let Nox be a 5/5 buff to a god, and then she's still alive. I think, I think she's going to probably be like a 4/4 or a 4/5. I think that's probably a bit. Even that's probably a bit too high. She's probably like a 2/3. I think that's reasonable. I think this is super exciting. I love to see his mechanics. So she'll be kind of like a Sylvanas tree. We already have a lot of that. So I'm really excited to see how Nox is. You know, I can't wait to play her. I'm really hyped. I love Nox. Bludgeon, Roman, deal 2 damage to all enemies in a column, move them. Yes, this is so good. So here's the deal. Roman has a lot of clear, but that's where their minions kind of lack. Besides your Terras, again, melee, besides your Herc, melee, and really, I guess Sylvanas is pretty good. Um, for the most part, they have a lot of these melee-esque, or I guess, see, now we have to look at only the gods. My bad, my bad. Uh, I guess Terra, like I said, Vulcan, Herc, a lot of these guys are melee. So you know they kind of get crapped on by a pantheon like Egyptian who has this all this uh ranged elimination, especially spell elimination because they can't even get off any of their damage. So I think this is a great. I can't wait to see how this happens. I'm really excited. Um, Obviously, I don't know how the map's going to change. I think they're going to change it significantly. So this could be incredibly powerful. It's just the question is like if you're looking. Here's the deal: if you're looking for sheer damage, the rain of arrows is way better than this, but I think this is a really good tactical item to use. So, for example, you have this massive Chinese lineup. You have Chang'e, you know, she's always gonna be adjacent to an enemy, and then you knock them all back. I think it's great. I'm really excited. Bolster, Roman, give all friendlies adjacent to another friendly protect one. That is a ridiculous card. They're probably gonna have to nerf it, I'm assuming. Give all friendlies adjacent to another. Oh wait, okay. Give all friendlies adjacent to another friendly protect one. Okay, so in other words, it's like the reverse of what's that card? What's that card? It's the reverse of this. Let me find it. It's the reverse of dishonorable. Okay, so it's like not that big of a deal. I think it's fine. I think it's okay. Assuming it's only lasts for one turn. If it lasts for multiple turns, then it'd be kind of insane. Pinned Roman enemies who move on this turn are stunned. Yes, yes. I love this idea. I love this card because it does something we haven't seen before. It it entices the enemy it dissuades the enemy. It's like the old Osiris used to do that, right? Old Osiris was whenever you place this enemy, if the enemies moved, and like it was like all adjacent enemies to Osiris were tethered, and if they moved out, they would, unfortunately, I guess, and fortunately in the opponent's case, they get stunned, so they had to stay near Osiris. So it was a really unique card. That being said, it still gave you some options. Maybe I should move out of the way and I'll have another unit to block it, or maybe I'll play around with it. But seeing this is really exciting, right? I'm really excited to see this. Enemies who move this turn are stunned because it's going to dissuade a lot of, especially because you know stun is way worse than moving, but it's still possible. There still could be a play. Also, it also depends on when the stun happens. For example, if they move, take their attack, and then are stunned, I think this card is fairly balanced. So overall, I'm really excited to see this card. Tenacity, Roman. Okay, real quick, guys. If you're wondering why there's so many Roman cards, because the majority of the Roman pantheon was minions, right? Which is why I think the Roman pantheon probably is going to get hurt by this up here. But that being said, they're just going to add a bunch of Roman cards to try to make up for the lost units. Tenacity, choose a friendly. Whenever the friendly moves... Oh, baby, baby. Oh my gosh. Whenever an enemy moves, that friendly gains +1/+1. Solid. I think it's really good. I think this is going to be your Beninator. Just sit back, and then you're just gonna target like the Ao Kuang. You're gonna target the Sun Wukong. You're gonna target the Fenrir. You're gonna target these big fat cards that they're gonna want to get in the damage. So you just wait for them to move. I think this is a very cool mechanic. Very cool mechanic. There's something very similar in Hearthstone, and that card works amazingly. Shackle, Roman, select 2 adjacent units. If they move away from each other, both take 3 damage. I want to point out this does not specify between friendly and enemy, so there could be some insane strat of doing it to your friendlies. Uh, I like this card a lot. It's unique. enough that I haven't really seen it in any other card game before. So I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool. I like this idea. The more I see it, the more I like this card. The more I see this card, the more I like it. Just in general, like I think that's a really cool technique. So like you can maybe shack. I mean, the question is how applicable is this card? Probably not a ton, because then you just stick the units together, and there's really no downside. Because like for the most part in the game, a lot of units are adjacent, right? Like they are. Like two enemies are. Oh, I will point out one thing I did forget here. It doesn't specify between yours and your opponent's, as in you can select your opponent's and yours. So you could have a melee friendly, and it could be right next to a ranged enemy, and you could shackle the two. So the enemy does not want to move away, otherwise they're gonna take 3 damage. So I think this is a fairly unique card. I'm not sure how good this will be. We'll have to find out. Get there. Divine Vengeance Greek. Deal 4 damage to all units that aren't gods. Yes. Yes, it is. Okay, here's the deal. For the longest time, the Greek pantheon has definitely lacked worldwide elimination. Literally, their only form of elimination came in the form of judgment. The rest of it was just either god-based or oh yeah, it was god-based. It was entirely god-based. That being said, just now seeing Greek, I think Greek is going to heavily benefit in this because you know Greek is mostly a pantheon of gods. There's Spike, the Greek, like I said, I always try to hold most pantheons standards to the Greek because I think the Greek is such a unique and really defined pantheon. They are this god pantheon. They have so many gods, and their Spike is mainly around 5. So if you can get to 5 without taking too much damage, and you can execute your plan enough, so in the late game you're not suffering because of the lack of high cost cards, I think, you know, then you profit. So I think that's why Greek's gonna benefit. More importantly, I cannot wait to see how like the AoEs that they're giving the Greeks are gonna help benefit them. I'm super excited. Ascension Greek, recall every unit on the battlefield. Normally I'd be like, "Ooh, it's really cool. This is literally a carbon copy of Vanish from Hearthstone." But I think it's a good. I think obviously this is a very necessary card. I'm really excited to see it because it seems, if you guys can't tell, it'll be very easy. Your enemy has this massive loadout. Especially this is a very anti ISIS per se Egyptian card because when the second she gives every friendly unit afterlife resummon this minion, you just ascend them, and then they lose that effect. But also, I guess you'd probably want to kill Isis before you ascend. Deicide, Greek, kill a god. Okay, so literally, they're kind of giving the rogue specialization from Hearthstone to this pantheon we're seeing a lot of. I love that name, Deicide, kill a god. I think that's really cool. I think this combos nicely with Divine Vengeance, so you can really like full clear board by this. Overall, these are all the Greek cards coming in. I'm super excited to see what they get. Pummel. Now, just to warn, remember, Chinese is already very strong right now. We don't know how they're gonna be in the latter patches, especially with like cards like Stone Guardian being allowed into the general populace. So we'll see. We'll see. Deal 1 damage to an enemy unit and stun them. Okay. So it's like a worse Cataclysm, but it's gonna be low cost. I'm excited. I think it's gonna be good. Calamity, stun all. Ooh, stun all enemies in a column. Uh, I'm excited. I think this is a cool card. I think it's similar to was that card Dragon Master, I think.
This shall be a day long remembered.
Our deed shall be written in legend.
Dragon King. My apologies. My apologies, guys. Dragon King. Similar to that, it's gonna prioritize on enemy positioning, and when you're up against the Chinese, you'll probably want to take that into account. And I'm excited for this because a group-wide stun, you know, there really is, besides purification beads, there really is no anti-CC mechanic in the game. So I'm really excited because so I mean this is especially strong. Contemplation, Chinese. Add 2 clear minds to your hand. Okay, okay, Adonis. We'll leave you with this. Okay. So, in other words, I'm guessing it's gonna be like a razor pedal from that one. It's like that one rogue card where in Hearthstone where you like add for it's like for one mana cost, it does like one damage. Okay. Dune Guardian neutral. Whenever a friendly is healed, gain 2-0. Very, very Egyptian oriented card because there's not really many heals. I guess you could put this in an Afro deck. That could work. And Sacred Warrior neutral. Whenever a friendly is healed, draw a card. Okay. I'm excited for this because most people, most players are going to see this as an instantaneous, oh, this goes in the Egyptian pantheon. But to the players, or I guess even Chinese pantheon, but to the players who are really going to think ahead, they'd see this as an Afro, or potentially in a Greek pantheon because of Afro. She does heal a unit, remember? So I'm really excited to see, like, this is why I'm really excited to see all these neutral cards because we're going to see all these different deck combinations. We're really going to see this deck crafting because in the current game, right, you have options between these units. That's it, right?
Know your enemy.
Like,
Know
all
its
you really have is
source.
this, and then you have the neutral, which is just
Written in legend.
there's a bunch of minions, but a lot of them aren't really
Our deed
as
shall
loud.
be written in legend.
Okay, but a lot of them aren't really this specified. This effect goes to this minion, or I think I'm stating that wrong. What I'm mainly saying here is it's very cool to see the ability for the players to customize a deck, and from that availability, create a really unique deck that is going to maybe synergize, not synergize very well. It's in other words, the current decks are relatively predefined, right? For example, in the Greeks, they expect you to play gods. They expect you to play a bunch of gods. That's why they have divinity, right? But now you could put that in an Egyptian pantheon and try to work a divinity deck through there. The point is, all this being said, you're gonna get a lot more decks, and I'm excited to see the different types of decks we see. New leader abilities, Zeus. Give friendly god 1/1. Okay. Okay. So it's old new what? I actually like the shield protection, but okay. Odin, new ability. Deploy a 1/1 cursed archer with charge. That is interesting. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's good. I think it's gonna be really annoying early, and I think that's what they're trying to go for with Odin. So I'll leave it at that. Move a unit up to 3 tiles away. Real quick, Old Bologna ability was a unique give friendlies who you place this turn +0/2. And I get where that's coming from, but it was kind of strong, especially when you got to the late game of kind of a stale draw, when both you and your opponent are kind of struggling to draw cards. And then this ability, and then like that ability was so strong because you could place even like a 3-drop minion like a Fury instead of a 3/2 or 3/4, and that becomes a lot harder to kill. So that being said, I think this is kind of a shift, and I'm really excited to see because we're going to see a lot of aggro. I think Bologna and Zeus are going to be able to aggro fairly well, and I'm really excited to see how this turns out. Really, because it's a unit, it's not your units, and on top of it, you know what that means. Like, you can be super aggressive with the ranged enemy range units. Like again, this is one of those concepts I think is too broad uh, to predict. I think we just need to see it in game and we'll figure out how good it is. I think it's gonna be a very good ability. That's what I'd say. Restore 1 health to all friendlies in a column. This is insanely strong. I think they're gonna probably need to nerf it. Like it's a column. That's a lot. I mean, actually, I take that back. I don't think it's insanely strong. I think it's strong. Definitely very strong, but not insane. Because there's only 1 health though. And the ability to heal up is so strong, especially when you combine it with these cards. Because that's what I'm taking into account. This is really good when you also have these cards in line, right? So you're just gonna get a bunch of like, especially with ranged units, right? And since they added AOE, You're just gonna be able to heal all up. So I think it's gonna be good. See, I'm having a hard time actually figuring out how good this is though, because I think it's strong, but at the same time, I'm also seeing it as being a bit weak because it's only one health. But also, there's so much heal synergy. I don't really know. Again, this is kind of broad. I think we're gonna work with it. I think it'll be good. Well, I think we'll leave it at that. Like I'm trying to imagine situations where it would be very good, and I imagine a ton. But at the same time, we'll call it good for right now. Good to OP. I would say, oh, we'll call it OP. We'll call it OP for right now. Probably, maybe not a nerf, but a change because a column is a lot of units, especially if you line them all up. But then realistically, like I'm saying, like realistically, you're not going to have a unit at the far edge of the column. So I think it's. I'm just going to officially say, I think it's a quality ability. We'll leave it at that. Old Guan Yu, that's fine. Uh, dropping one damage, just why would you? Why? Because remember, all the minions now are neutral. So why would you play Nuwa? I mean, Nuwa has that again that has that minion synergy, but overall, this is a better ability than this, right? This is better than this. So this is going to heavily rely on you using the minions, but more importantly, you're using the gods in that pool. So we'll see. Free 4 mana. Okay, so they nerfed Afro, so rip what I was saying about the heal because I didn't even know they were changing the gods. Rip that. Okay, if it's a friendly god, okay, protect two. I like this. I think this is probably too strong because if you put it on a really strong god, how in Tarnation are they gonna actually kill it without spells? So we'll figure that out. Hades, 5 mana. While in play, enemy gods cost two. Yes! Yes! This is so good. I love this idea. I love this idea. It's like a counter card. It's not going to make some gods impossible, right? And at 5 mana, you should have a variety of gods and cards at your disposal. So I think this is a very good card. I do not think it's broken. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Wind Demon, give friendly 2/2, deal 3 damage to your summoning stone. You guys know how much I love seeing like this, like I was saying, I like seeing these trade-offs. I'm really excited because this is a big trade-off. I think it's kind of a dangerous trade-off, and I love it. Absolutely love it. Because you're banking on the enemy not being able to eliminate that minion with +2/2. It's a risky card, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to hopefully see it execute correctly. Give a friend. Oh wait, give a friend. Okay, this is guardian friendly guard. If it already has guard, give it 2/2 instead. I love this. I love this a lot because because now it can be played on a lot of minions. Because besides, I don't think there's any gods with guard in the game currently, so we're gonna see a lot of that fun be inserted, especially because like you give a baboon guard, crowd man, you're not gonna kill that thing anytime soon. If anything, this card might be a bit too strong. I think it'd be a +1/1 be more reasonable, or +1/2 be more reasonable, but whatever. It's fine, I guess. Dishonorable. Deal 2 damage to all enemy units who are not adjacent to enemy units. Tweaked from before swimming stones counts adjacent. Oh, yeah, that is correct. Okay, so in other words, this dishonorable got a buff, a sizable buff. I think it's going to be good. Unit mechanic changes. A Sensus Thorian Venator now only receive their pass bonus if they are next to a friendly unit. That's fine. Uh, it's gonna nerf their early game, but I think that's fine. Sprint move to Roman, Discord move to Roman, Blink move to Roman. Okay, let's quickly go over these cards. So Sprint, Discord, and Blink. So I already know what Discord is, but just in case you guys don't know,
Our deed shall be written in
where was
legend.
it? Here we are. Move all enemies to random adjacent tile. I think this is kind of going along the lines with the change that we saw here. Up here for dishonorable. Then Discord. So and then sprint. This allows you to attack twice, while go over, and then blink. So and then both of those are in the
Once
Norse
again,
currently.
mankind needs my help.
First blink.
I must protect them and this sacred
You will be able to cross an entire battlefield with the current Roman pantheon. This will be a very interesting Roman pantheon. I'll say. I'll leave it at that. I'm not sure if it's exactly great. I think it may be a bit strong, but we'll see. And then sprint. So sprint was kind of an a poor man's haste and fatalis, right? Or back in the day, because like most of the time you would just blink and like a Loki in, and then hasten fatalis them. But now with sprint, you're clearing your friendly's exhaustion. I think that also counts. This also counts as a very expensive charge. I'd have to double check it. Don't quote me on that. But that being said, this being all moved to the Roman Pantheon, I have high hopes for the Roman Pantheon. They should. I mean, I think we'll get a play difference, but I think it's because the Roman Pantheon is going to kind of center more on spawn units, shove them into battle, buff them, and kill everything. So I'm excited. Then the other question is, like, for example, can Nox be spawned anywhere on the map because she can go to a friendly unit as a buff? We'll see. Neith, whenever friendly is healed, gains global range till the end of your turn. You know, she's still a 4/4. I don't know about this. That's, I mean, it's very, I think what it will do is when the Neith is on the ground, the players are going to be dissuaded from attacking any god until they can kill the Neith. The only thing I would say is normally I think this is insanely broken, but because of all the changes we're seeing to other pantheons, I think she'll actually be relatively balanced. 4 damage is kind of rough, but at the same time, just play it better. Like I play cautiously, and when you see the Neith, I guess, focus her because she's no longer rooting, right? Which is much better. So okay, March, all friendlies out. That was just kind of a given. It's not gonna change much. Now you choose a row instead of a 2x2 area. Very good, very good. I like it. I like these changes a lot. I think these changes are gonna be obviously like they're more in tune with this whole everything, but like pretty much the ranges are bigger, so it's going to so it's almost gonna look like an army, right? So you're gonna move all these units together, and then you're just gonna buff them all. I think it's gonna be good. Enrage. Give a friendly +3 attack. It dies at the end of your turn. I don't actually know where that card is currently in the game.
Defeat our enemies, or we return to
Is it
Valhalla. A glorious day
is it a
returns.
Norse card? I think it's a Norse card. Enrage. Charge. Okay, I apologize, guys. I actually do not know what Panther that card is from, but I think this is strong. I'll say it's strong, but I don't think it's broken because but at the same time you have to understand that this is probably going to be an end game card as in hey, I have the keys to this victory. You just play that and then they don't have to worry about the dice at the end of your turn. So there's that. Meditation 3x3 area instead of 2x2. So freaking a large AoE heal, my dudes. Give me a sec while I rip the Egyptian Pantheon in a second. I saw the next one. Okay, first massive heal. I think there's so much heal synergy now. It's gonna be a very strong card. I think it's still for 2 health, so I'm pretty sure that's probably a bit too strong, but we'll see. Phantom Grasp can now only be used on a god. Okay, fair enough. And move to the Greek Pantheon. That is ridiculous. That is freaking ridiculous. So finally, now the Egyptian Pantheon is not the only Pantheon that can boast having legendary spells. I think overall this is a I can't say. Cause like Phantom Grasp was the main legendary card I see coming out, but that and Annihilation, right? We don't see many Book of the Deads currently, but we do see a lot of Phantom Grasps. So that being said, though, even though it can only be used on the god, I think it's going to heavily benefit the Greek Pantheon because we see a lot of this RNG god stuff coming out of the Greek Pantheon with Bulwark, or my bad, Beacon, with Touch of Midas, So we're seeing a lot of that RNG factor, and this isn't necessarily an RNG factor, but it is a out of your personal deck god. So I think I'm excited to see this. I mean, I always thought Phantom Grass should be in the Greek Pantheon. I believe so. So I think this is a good change. And recall finally, last change here, increase mana cost from 2 to 3. I do not think this is enough. Recall, here's the deal. When you recall a unit, especially an early game recall like this, you are resetting you're most likely resetting the enemy's turn, right? So you play that recall and then boom, the enemy has to pretty much replay a turn. And that hurts a lot because you're setting them a turn behind if assuming they're on curve. So that being said, I think this is a very, very strong card, and nerfing it from 2 to 3 isn't going to necessarily solve the problem. I think making this, I think it could almost keep it, if they moved it almost to 0, made this a legendary spell, I think it'd be almost more balanced. So that way you can only have one of it in your thing. Because it's just, I think it's such a strong mechanic. That being said, though, we also got more recalls above, so I think it's relatively balanced. I don't know. I think this is a very strong card still. The question is the one increase enough? And in my opinion, I'll say I don't think it is. Because even I think if it was like a 4 cost, it'd be. But then even then, if it's a 4 cost, I'd undervalue it, saying it's not that good. So maybe 3 costs is where it needs to be. I don't know. We'll assume that. So that being said, I do want to point out these are not finalized. Everything is subject to change. But with these current changes, I'm seeing a very positive outlook for the new tactics. As in, you can build all these unique decks now and really go places, or I guess, and have a lot of fun. Because the biggest issue is in the current game, I feel, is it's very stale. It's very stale, as in I know what cards are probably going to be in your deck before you, like if I see your Pantheon, I know what cards are most likely going to be in your deck without you even spawning any minions, right? Because but now because of these changes, I think it's going to vary deck gameplay up a ton. I think it's really going to it's gonna have a spike in the amount of unique decks, so you can no longer predict what your opponent's gonna play. Now you have to play, but you can't play around certain minions because they're available to everybody. So again, I'm super excited. I can't wait to see. I think this may be a bit of too much of a change, but at the same time, like I said, it's foolish to try to predict something this big of a change. So that being said, guys, thank you so much for chilling in this video. I'm not going to ask you to do any of that normal crap because I'm not. I have dear friends, remember. See you guys later. Have a good one.